When celebrity surgeon Dr. Adanna Okafor was kidnapped by Seoul's most dangerous crime lords, she expected violence. Instead, the Hwang brothers offered her $5 million for something impossible: cure their mysterious condition that left them unable to feel anything, no pain, no pleasure, no sensation at all. But the moment she touched them during her examination, both brothers gasped. For the first time in 3 years, they could feel. Now they're not letting her go, and Adanna is discovering that some cures require more than medicine. Before we begin, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is your only way of supporting us, as we also promise to bring you interesting and hooking stories every single day. Dr. Adanna Okafor knew she was being followed the moment she left Seoul National Hospital. It was past midnight, her shift had run 16 hours, and exhaustion made her movements slow. She'd been in Seoul for 6 months, brought over from Lagos on a prestigious medical fellowship in neurosurgery. At 31 years old, she was one of the youngest surgeons in her field, known for solving cases other doctors deemed impossible. Which was probably why they'd been watching her. 3 black SUVs pulled up simultaneously as she reached the parking garage. Men in suits emerged, professional, organized, terrifying. "Dr. Okafor," a voice said in perfect English. "Please come with us. We don't want to make a scene." "Who are you? What do you want?" "Our employers need your expertise. It's a medical matter. You'll be compensated generously." "I'm not going anywhere with you. Call the hospital if you need a consultation." The man's expression didn't change. "This isn't a request, doctor. We know you're here alone. No family in Seoul. Your parents are in Lagos. Your brother is in London. You have no one who'll miss you for at least 48 hours. We've done our research." Adanna's blood went cold. "That's kidnapping." "That's a consultation," he corrected. "One you'll be paid $5 million to complete." Adanna's mind raced. $5 million was more money than she'd make in 10 years. But these weren't legitimate clients. Everything about this screamed organized crime. "I could scream. Security is right there." "You could," the man agreed. "But our employers specifically requested you be unharmed. Making a scene would complicate that. Please, doctor. We really don't want this to get difficult." Adanna looked at the security booth. The guard was conveniently absent. She was alone, outnumbered, and clearly these people had resources. Sometimes survival meant cooperation. "What's the medical condition?" "A neurological disorder. Loss of sensation. Our employers have seen every specialist in 3 countries. Nothing has worked. They believe you might succeed where others failed. And if I can't help them, then you'll still be paid for your time and returned safely. You have my word." Adanna studied him. He didn't look like he was lying, which somehow made this worse. "Fine. But I want that in writing." "Done." They had a contract ready in the SUV. The drive took 40 minutes through Seoul's nighttime streets, eventually arriving at a compound that looked more fortress than home. High walls, security cameras everywhere, armed guards at checkpoints. They led Adanna through gardens and courtyards until they reached a massive traditional Korean house that had been modernized with obvious wealth. Inside, 2 men waited. Identical twins, both devastatingly handsome. Sharp features, intense eyes, black hair styled identically. Both wearing expensive casual clothes. Both watching her with expressions that were hard to read. "Dr. Okafor," the first twin said, standing. "Thank you for coming. I'm Hwang. This is my brother, Hyunjin." "I didn't come willingly," Adanna said flatly. "I was kidnapped." "Consulted," Hyunwoo corrected with a slight smile. "We apologize for the dramatic approach. Conventional channels weren't working. Conventional channels would be calling my office for an appointment, not ambushing me in a parking garage." "You're right," Hyunjin said, "and we'll compensate you appropriately. $5 million for your expertise, regardless of outcome. Plus expenses and a bonus if you succeed." Adanna set down her medical bag. "Before we discuss money, let's discuss your condition." "Your man said neurological disorder with loss of sensation." "I need specifics. When did it start? What are your symptoms? Have you had imaging done?" 3 years ago, Hyunwoo said. "We were poisoned. Business rivals attempting assassination. We survived, but the poison damaged our nervous systems. What kind of poison? We don't know. It was never identified. Our doctors believe it was a custom compound designed specifically for us. And the symptoms? Complete loss of physical sensation, Hyunjin said. We can't feel pain, pleasure, temperature, texture, nothing. We can move normally, our motor functions are intact, but all sensory input is gone. Both of you simultaneously? Yes. We were poisoned together. The symptoms manifested identically. Have you had nerve conduction studies? Brain scans? Spinal imaging? Adanna asked, slipping into professional mode. Everything, Hyamu said. Every test available. The results show normal nerve structure, normal brain function, normal everything. Medically, we should be fine. But we're not. That suggests the damage is at a molecular level, Adanna mused. Possibly affecting neurotransmitter receptors or synaptic transmission in ways standard imaging can't detect. Exactly what our doctors concluded, Hyunjin said. They've tried every treatment. Nerve stimulation therapy, medication trials, experimental procedures. Nothing works. So why do you think I can help? Adanna asked. Because you specialize in impossible cases, Hyamu said. We've read your research papers. You solved that case in Lagos, the woman who lost motor function after a parasitic infection. Every doctor said it was permanent. You found a way. That was different. That was nerve regeneration therapy combined with targeted medication. If your damage is receptor level, my approach might not work. We're willing to try anything, Hyunjin said quietly. You have no idea what it's like. 3 years without feeling anything. We can't taste food, can't feel temperature, can't feel, he stopped. Physical intimacy, Adanna finished. That's part of it, isn't it? Both twins looked away. Yes, Hyunwoo finally said. We can't feel touch, can't feel arousal, can't feel pleasure. That part of us is dead. We're 34 years old and functionally unable to experience any physical sensation. It's like living in a sensory void. I understand, Adanna said gently. That must be devastating. Can I examine you? Now? Yes. I need to establish baselines before I can develop a treatment plan. They moved to a room that had been converted into a surprisingly well-equipped medical suite. Someone had spent serious money preparing for her arrival. Adanna had them sit while she conducted a standard neurological examination. Testing reflexes, checking pupil responses, assessing motor function. Can you feel this? She asked, pressing her pen against Hyunwoo's palm. Nothing. This? She touched his neck. Nothing. Temperature? She held an ice pack against his arm. I can see it visually, but I feel nothing. It's like watching something happen to someone else's body. Adanna moved to Hyunjin, repeating the tests. Same results. Complete sensory loss despite normal reflexes and motor control. Let me try something, she said. I'm going to do a tactile sensitivity test. It might be uncomfortable. We can't feel discomfort, Hyunjin reminded her. That's the problem. Adanna placed her hands on Hyunjin's shoulders, pressing firmly while watching his face for any response. Nothing. She moved her hands to his chest, checking for any reaction. The moment her palms made full contact with his chest, Hyunjin gasped. His eyes went wide. His entire body tensed. What? Adanna started to pull away. Don't. Hyunjin grabbed her wrists, holding her hands against his chest. Don't move. I feel it. I feel your hands. I feel warmth. I feel pressure. I feel something. That's impossible, Adanna said. You just said you couldn't feel anything. Try me, Hyamu said urgently. Please. Adanna moved to Hyamu, placed her hands on his chest the same way. His reaction was identical. Immediate, dramatic, undeniable. Oh my God, he breathed. I can feel. After 3 years, I can actually feel. Adanna pulled her hands away, stunned. Both twins made sounds of loss. What just happened? She asked. We don't know, Hyunjin said, but when you touched us, it was like our nervous system activated. We could feel everything. Your hands, the warmth, the pressure. It was incredible. Touch me again, Hyamu said. I need to know if it was real. Adanna hesitated, then placed one hand on each twin's arm. The response was immediate. Both twins' faces showed clear sensation, relief, almost euphoria. This doesn't make sense medically, Adanna said. There's no scientific explanation for why my touch specifically would restore sensation when nothing else has worked. We don't care about explanations, Hyunjin said. We care that it works. Will you stay? Will you help us understand this? I need to run tests, Adanna said, her mind already racing through possibilities. Document responses, explore parameters, understand the mechanism. This could be a breakthrough in neuroscience. We'll provide whatever equipment you need, Hyamu said. Whatever resources. Name it, and it's yours. I'll need my research materials from my apartment. Done. We'll have everything moved here tomorrow. Here? You want me to stay here? We're offering you $5 million to solve a medical mystery, Hyunjin said. Plus full access to our resources, which are considerable. And, honestly, doctor, where else are you going to conduct this research? We can't exactly check into a hospital. Adanna looked between them. They were criminals, clearly. Dangerous men who kidnapped doctors and spoke casually about assassination attempts. But they were also patients with a condition she'd never encountered, offering her the opportunity to make medical history. And $5 million would change her entire family's life. I'll stay for 1 month, she said. Document the phenomenon, run controlled tests, try to understand the mechanism. But I have conditions. Name them. First, I'm not a prisoner. I can leave whenever I want. Agreed. Second, I need complete honesty about your medical history. Everything. Agreed. Third, this stays professional. I'm your doctor, not anything else. The twins exchanged a look. We'll try, Hyamu said. But doctor, what we just felt when you touched us, that was the first sensation we've had in 3 years. Professional boundaries might be difficult to maintain. Then you'll have to work on that, Adanna said firmly, because I don't compromise my professional ethics, no matter how much you're paying me. Fair enough, Hyunjin said with a slight smile. When do we start? Now, Adanna said, pulling out her phone. I need to document everything while it's fresh. Describe exactly what you felt when I touched you. Where, how intense, what type of sensation. What followed was the most extraordinary medical consultation of Adanna's career. Both twins described sensations in vivid detail. The warmth of her hands, the pressure of her touch, even subtle things like the texture of her skin. It was like their sensory systems had rebooted completely in her presence. By 3 a.m, Adanna had pages of notes and more questions than answers. We'll continue tomorrow, she said, exhaustion finally catching up with her. I need to review the literature, consult some colleagues remotely without revealing your identities. See if there are any documented cases of touch-specific sensory restoration. They showed her to a guest suite that was nicer than her entire apartment. Luxury furnishings, attached bathroom with a soaking tub, balcony overlooking gardens. There's a phone by the bed, Hyamu said. Dial 1 for anything you need. Staff are available 24 hours. Thank you. And Dr. Okafor? Yes? Thank you for staying. For giving us hope. After they left, Adanna sat on the impossibly comfortable bed and tried to process everything. She'd been kidnapped by crime lords, offered $5 million, and apparently discovered she had the ability to restore sensation to 2 men suffering from an impossible condition. This was either the biggest breakthrough of her career or the beginning of a nightmare. She texted her best friend Kayamika in Lagos, using coded language they'd established. At an extended medical consultation. Unexpected but legitimate. We'll explain later. Don't worry. Then she pulled out her laptop and began researching everything she could find about sensation restoration, neurological disorders, and cases of touch-specific healing. The next morning, Adanna woke to find her entire apartment had been moved to the compound. Her clothes, her books, her research materials, everything professionally packed and arranged in her new suite. Either they were incredibly efficient or they'd been planning this longer than she'd realized. Breakfast was waiting when she emerged. Traditional Korean spread and, somehow, Nigerian jollof rice and plantains. We did research, Hyunjin said, appearing in the doorway. Thought you might appreciate something familiar. You had my apartment packed overnight, Adanna said. How? We're efficient, Hyamu said, joining his brother. And before you ask, yes, We paid your rent through the end of your lease. And informed your hospital you're on emergency family leave. You've taken care of everything. We try to. Now, shall we begin testing? They spent the morning in the medical suite. Adanna had them describe their normal daily experience first. How they navigated a world without sensation, how they'd adapted, what challenges they faced. It's like being a ghost, Hwang said. Going through the motions of life, but not really experiencing it. We can see, hear, smell, even taste to a degree. But without touch, without physical sensation, everything feels hollow. We can't tell if we're injured, Hyunjin added. Can't feel pain, so we've had to be incredibly careful. We've set up systems, temperature sensors we check constantly, visual inspections for injuries. We live in constant vigilance because our bodies won't warn us of danger. And relationships? Adanna asked gently. How has this affected your personal lives? We don't have them, Hwang said flatly. How can we? We can't feel intimacy, can't experience connection. We tried in the first year after the poisoning. It was disastrous. Imagine being with someone and feeling absolutely nothing. Now let's test the touch response, Adanna said. I'm going to establish a baseline, see exactly what you can and can't feel with and without my touch. She had them close their eyes. Touch them with various instruments, cold metal, warm water, rough fabric, smooth glass. Without her hands making contact, they felt nothing. The moment she touched them directly, sensation flooded back. It's specifically your skin contact, Adanna noted, making detailed records. Not proximity, not indirect touch through materials. Direct skin-to-skin contact triggers full sensory restoration. That's impossible, she muttered. No, it's not, Hyunjin said. It's happening. After hours of testing, a pattern emerged. Adanna's direct touch restored all sensation in the area of contact and approximately 6 inches beyond. The effect lasted as long as she maintained contact and faded gradually over 30 seconds after she pulled away. It was consistent, repeatable, and completely inexplicable by any medical framework she knew. This is going to take weeks to understand properly, Adanna said. Maybe months. We'll need systematic testing, documentation, possibly consultation with specialists in neuroscience, biochemistry, bioelectrics. We have time, Hwang said. And doctor? You should know something. When you touch us, it's not just physical sensation that returns. What do you mean? Hyunjin stepped closer. We can feel emotions more clearly too. Like the sensory restoration unlocks something deeper. When you touch us, we don't just feel your hands. We feel alive. That's likely psychological, Adanna said, though her voice was uncertain. After 3 years of sensory deprivation, any restoration would feel profound. Maybe, Hwang said, studying her face. Or maybe this is something science hasn't encountered before. Over the next week, Adanna fell into a routine. Mornings conducting tests, afternoons reviewing data and researching similar cases, though she found none evenings having dinner with the twins and discussing findings. She learned they'd inherited their criminal empire from their father, who'd been brutal and ruthless. They'd spent the past 5 years trying to legitimize operations, moving away from violence toward business ventures that skirted legality but didn't cross certain lines. We don't hurt innocents, Hwang explained one evening. Don't traffic in human misery. Our father did, which is why so many people wanted us dead. The poisoning was revenge? Partially, Hyunjin said. Partially business. The Kang family wanted our territories. Thought killing us would create a power vacuum they could fill. What happened to them? Adanna asked, though she suspected she knew. They're no longer a concern, Hwang said simply. Adanna decided not to press further. She also learned the twins were surprisingly educated. Both had degrees in business and economics. Hwang spoke 5 languages fluently. Hyunjin played classical piano, though he said the loss of sensation had made it meaningless. I can hit the right keys, but I can't feel the music anymore, he said sadly. One evening, 2 weeks into her stay, Adanna found Hyunjin alone on the compound's terrace. Mind if I join you? She asked. Please. She sat beside him, both looking out at Seoul's lights. Can I ask you something medical? He said. That's what I'm here for. When you touch us and sensation returns, do you feel anything unusual? Like what? like electricity or heat or any kind of physical response on your end. Adanna hesitated. She'd been trying not to think about this, trying to maintain professional distance. But he was right. There was something. Yes, she admitted. A warmth, a kind of tingling. Not unpleasant. I've been assuming it's psychosomatic, my mind responding to the extraordinary nature of the situation. What if it's not? What if this connection goes both ways? That would suggest a bioelectric or energetic exchange, which has no basis in established science. Maybe established science is incomplete, Hyunjin said. Maybe some things exist outside what we currently understand. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Hyunjin spoke again. Can I try something? It's not medical, but I need to know. What? Can I kiss you? Absolutely not. Adanna stood up. I told you, this stays professional. I know what you said, Hyunjin stood too. But Dr. Adanna, you've given us back sensation. For the first time in 3 years, I can feel. And what I'm feeling is that I'm falling for you. That's transference, Adanna said firmly. You're confused gratitude with attraction. I'm your doctor. This can't happen. You're right, Hyunjin said quietly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked. Adanna went back to her suite, heart pounding. She couldn't deny the attraction. Both twins were intelligent, complex, surprisingly gentle despite their dangerous profession. But she was their doctor. Professional ethics were non-negotiable. Except she couldn't stop thinking about Hyunjin's question. Couldn't stop remembering the warmth she felt when she touched them. Couldn't stop wondering what it would be like to kiss someone and give them back sensation they'd lost. The next morning, Hyunwoo found her in the medical suite early. We need to talk about what Hyunjin asked you last night. You know about that? We share everything. Always have. I told him it was inappropriate, Adanna said. He's a patient, I'm his doctor. Boundaries exist for good reasons. You're right, Hyunwoo said. But let me ask you something. If we weren't your patients, if we'd met under different circumstances, would you be interested? That's hypothetical and irrelevant. It's not irrelevant to us, Hyunwoo said. Because we're both falling for you, Adanna. Both of us. The woman who gave us back what we thought we'd lost forever. The brilliant doctor who sees us as people, not just criminals. The person who makes us feel alive. You're both experiencing a psychological phenomenon called the Florence Nightingale effect, Adanna said, falling back on professional terminology. Patients often develop feelings for their caregivers. It's well documented and not real. This feels real, Hyunwoo countered. Does it? Or does it feel intense because I'm the first person to make you feel anything in 3 years? That's not fair. Neither is dismissing what we feel because it's inconvenient for your professional ethics. They stared at each other. Finally, Adanna spoke. I need time. Time to process. Time to figure out if what I'm feeling is real or just my response to an extraordinary situation. Take all the time you need, Hyunwoo said. But know this. We're not going anywhere, and neither are you until we figure out this medical phenomenon. So you have time, but we're going to be here, being honest about what we want. What do you want? You, Hyunwoo said simply. Both of us want you. Not just as our doctor, as our partner. Is that even possible? Adanna asked. 2 people being with 1 person? We share everything else, Hyunwoo said. Why not this? This is insane. Maybe, but you're still here. You haven't left despite having every opportunity. Why? Because this is the most important medical discovery of my career, Adanna said. And because she stopped. Because what? Because I feel something too, Adanna admitted. And I hate that I do because it compromises everything I believe about professional boundaries. Then let's make it not professional, Hyunwoo suggested. Complete your research, document the findings, establish the medical protocols. Then decide about us as people, not as doctor and patients. That could take months. We have time. 3 weeks into her stay, Adanna had compiled enough data to publish a groundbreaking paper if she could ever figure out how to do so without revealing her patients' identities. The touch-specific sensory restoration was consistent, measurable, and completely unexplainable by current medical understanding. She'd also fallen irreversibly in love with both twins, though she was still fighting it. One evening, Hyunjin found her in the library at midnight. Can't sleep? Research insomnia, Adanna said. Trying to find any documented cases of bioelectric resonance between individuals. Any luck? None. This is completely unprecedented. Hyunjin sat across from her. Or maybe it's not medical at all. Maybe it's something else. Like what? Like fate or destiny, or whatever you want to call it when three people find exactly what they need in each other. I'm a scientist, Adanna said. I don't believe in fate. What do you believe in? Evidence. Data. Reproducible results. And what does the evidence tell you? Adanna looked at him. That you and your brother can feel sensation when I touch you. That the effect is consistent and measurable. That it defies every known medical principle. And what does your heart tell you? That I'm in love with both of you, Adanna admitted. And I don't know what to do about it. Hyunjin stood, crossed to her, knelt beside her chair. May I take your hand? Adanna hesitated, then offered her hand. The moment their skin touched, Hyunjin's face showed that familiar expression of wonder and sensation. This is what I feel, he said quietly. Not just physical sensation, though that's incredible. But connection, rightness, like finding something I didn't know I'd lost. I feel it too, Adanna whispered. Which terrifies me because I don't understand it. Maybe understanding isn't the point, Hyunjin said. Maybe some things are meant to be experienced, not explained. Can I kiss you now? Adanna looked into his eyes and made a choice. Yes. The kiss was unlike anything she'd experienced. Gentle, questioning, giving her room to pull away. She didn't. When they finally broke apart, Hyunjin rested his forehead against hers. I can feel everything, he whispered. Your lips, your warmth, the way you taste. God, I'd forgotten what kissing felt like. Hyunwoo is going to be jealous, Adanna said. Then maybe he should get his own kiss, Hyunjin said with a smile. Over the next few days, the dynamic shifted. Adanna still conducted her research, still maintained most professional boundaries, but she'd acknowledged what she felt. Hyunwoo got his kiss, different from Hyunjin's, but equally electric. Both twins were openly affectionate now, finding excuses to touch her, making it clear what they wanted. 1 month into her stay, Dr. Kim, the twins' previous physician, visited to review Adanna's findings. This is extraordinary, he said, examining her data. If you could publish this, you'd revolutionize neuroscience. I can't, Adanna said. Not without revealing their identities, which would endanger them. Then at least document it thoroughly. This kind of research could help countless people if the mechanism can ever be understood or replicated. I'm trying, Adanna said. But without understanding why my touch specifically works, I can't develop treatment protocols for others. That evening, the three of them had dinner on the terrace. Adanna, Hyunwoo said, we need to discuss something. What? Your month is almost up. You're free to leave if you want. Adanna's heart sank. Do you want me to leave? No, both twins said immediately. We want you to stay, Hyunjin continued. Not as our doctor, as our partner. Both of us. You're asking me to enter a relationship with 2 men, Adanna said. Do you understand how complicated that is? We do, Hyunwoo said. We're asking you anyway. What would that even look like? We'd all be together, Hyunjin said. We share everything, always have. We'd share you. Share a life, a home, a future. I have a career, Adanna pointed out. Research I want to continue. We'd support that, Hyunwoo said. Build you a state-of-the-art research facility if you want. Fund your work. You could continue helping people. And when people ask about my relationship status, you tell them whatever you're comfortable with, Hyunjin said. We're private people. Our relationship doesn't have to be public. This is insane, Adanna said. Maybe, Hyunwoo agreed. But it's also honest. We want you. You want us. Why should convention stop us from building something real? What if it doesn't work? What if I get hurt or change my mind? Then we deal with it together, Hyunjin said. No drama, no threats, no making you stay against your will. We want you because you choose us, not because you're trapped. Adanna looked between them. These dangerous, powerful men who looked at her like she was precious. Who'd given her the opportunity to make medical history. Who'd shown her that love could be more than she'd imagined. I'll stay, she said quietly. For real this time, not just for research. But I have conditions. Name them. First, you continue legitimizing your business. No more criminal activity that endangers innocent people. Done. Second, you give me space when I need it. Space to work, space to process, space to be myself. Done. Third, we figure this out together. No secrets, no games, complete honesty. Done, both twins said. Then let's try this, Adanna said. Let's be crazy together and see what happens. The kiss that followed was 3 people finding connection, 3 broken pieces becoming whole. 2 brothers who'd lost sensation and the doctor who'd somehow given it back. Hwang was methodical, his kisses controlled and precise. Hyunjin was spontaneous, following emotion and instinct. Together, they were perfect. 1 year later, Adanna stood in her new research facility, state-of-the-art equipment filling the space. She'd published a paper on touch-specific sensory restoration, carefully anonymizing her subjects but detailing the phenomenon. The medical community was skeptical but intrigued. She'd received grant offers from 3 major universities and speaking invitations from neuroscience conferences worldwide. More importantly, she'd helped 2 other patients with similar conditions, using protocols developed from her work with the twins. Neither case was as dramatic, but both showed improvement. She was building something real. Beautiful work, Hwang said, appearing in the doorway. Thank you. Still can't believe this is mine. It's yours, Hyunjin added, joining his brother. Everything you've built, everything you've achieved. We're just lucky to be part of it. Adanna walked to them, took both their hands. The moment of contact was still electric, still brought that look of wonder to their faces. After a year, their sensation had mostly returned permanently. They could feel without her touch now, though her presence still intensified everything. I'm the lucky one, Adanna said. You gave me the chance to make history, to help people, to understand something science had never encountered. And you gave us back our lives, Hwang said. We'd been dead inside for 3 years. You made us whole. We made each other whole, Adanna corrected. All 3 of us together. Our miracle, Hyunjin said, pulling her close. The best kidnapping we ever committed, Hyunwoo added with a slight smile. Don't call it kidnapping, Adanna laughed. Call it an involuntary consultation. Whatever we call it, it brought us together. That's all that matters. The 3 of them stood together, an unconventional family built on an impossible medical phenomenon and love that defied explanation. Sometimes the best cures required more than medicine. Sometimes they required trusting something science couldn't measure but hearts understood completely. The end. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe. Let me also know in the comments what moment impacted you most. See you in the next one.